What fuels the fire in your belly? Who are the people, the reasons, the things that motivate and inspire you to challenge yourself, to keep growing and to be the best that you can be? Welcome to the Alchemy of Alignment, a podcast for people pursuing purpose. You're joining a really special conversation today because I've got two of the people that inspire and motivate me to show up every day and to keep growing. And I'm going to introduce you to those two remarkable women soon. I'm Suzy Sanders. I'm your ever curious host, and I'm the founder of Alchemy Virtual Assistants. And today, I'm going to introduce Sarah first, because Sarah Damani was Alchemy Virtual Assistants' very first franchise partner. And she started her business many, many years ago, it feels. And she's here to share a little bit of her journey with us today. So Sarah, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Suzy. Yes, it's really exciting to be on the podcast with you again. As you said, I was the very first franchisee with Alchemy, and it has been 5 very short years. I can't believe I'm saying that, really. 5 years has absolutely flown by, and it's been a real journey. And I think along the way, I've just built my confidence with it. I think probably very similar to everyone who embarks on this journey with you. We're not sure if we can do this at the start. And as I always say, I borrowed your belief. And I still do. So thank you.
Sarah, I love that sentiment. And I often remind myself of that as well. And it's confidence. I mean, I'm not going to take us off on a tangent just yet. I'm going to bring Laura into the conversation very shortly. But confidence is such, I'm so glad that's come up so early, because there's so much to that, isn't that? What fuels it? How do we get it? And before you borrowed my belief, you were actually Alchemy's business advisor. And we'll come back to that, because I'm going to bring Laura into the conversation, because I could see her agreeing with what we were sharing there with some very beautiful nods. And Laura took the, I'm going to say, big, bold move, found the courage to launch Alchemy Virtual Assistants in Glasgow 4 years ago, Laura?
Coming up on 4, yeah.
Coming up on 4. So Laura, welcome. I'm glad we've done an episode together before anyway, but it is really exciting that the three of us are here to have this conversation. So Laura, thank you for being here as well.
No, thank you for having me on. It's great to be back to talk about my journey, and totally just echo Sarah's sentiments. I can't believe it's coming up for 4 years. It's just been so quick. And what do I always say to you? Like, I just wish I'd find you sooner.
I'm yet to cry on a podcast episode. Don't do this to me.
Today's the day.
We're good at that, Laura. We're good at that.
could be the day. I'm really excited. I mean, we obviously collectively, individually speak quite often, and I'm grateful for that. And I am very excited and also a little bit apprehensive about where this conversation is going to go. So let's dive in. And Laura, while I've got you here, I suppose I would love to know, from your perspective, what fuels that fire in your belly?
That kind of relates back to Alchemy's values, I guess. What I really loved when I started this business was the freedom that I had, the flexibility that I had to be there for my family. I'm in a situation where it's just me and my son, so I really want to be there for him as much as possible. To go on the school trips, to be at the school gate, to take him to a different club every single night of the week. It's definitely, about that. That would be my main driver. But also having that financial independence and being in control of that is a huge thing for me. And I'm very grateful for what it's given me. you know, that I'm gaining new skills all the time. I've met an amazing network of people. Yeah, I could go on and on, but I won't. I'll let Sarah come in.
Oh, thank you, Laura. And before Sarah adds her take, I just wanted to recognize that freedom, that flexibility, that financial, like Sarah and I were both nodding along with that. And is it fair to say that with that comes great responsibility?
Oh, definitely, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And obviously, Sarah and I have both got teams now, so you know, there's responsibility for them as well. Um, but it's not a scary responsibility; it's a good one. You know, it's yeah, it's good. I enjoy it.
I would agree. I would agree, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, that freedom, that flexibility, those things are so key and so common for the reason that not just people looking at alchemy as an opportunity to start their VA businesses, but just broadly. Um, but I always think that responsibility, that confidence, that belief that is sometimes a bit of a challenge to accept and take action from.
Yeah.
But Sarah, what's your take?
I think taking on the team was something that I didn't actually anticipate to start with. Really, it wasn't really part of my business plan or growth of how to sort of grow and scale the business. It wasn't what I initially thought that this would be. But actually, when I realised that I could create opportunities for other people, you know, other mums, flexible, empowering roles that fit around their families, that were flexible, that could bring them financial stability, that could meet their financial needs without them having to work, you know, in a big corporate or work full time. I think that was a really big moment and something that I didn't expect. I think it's really empowering. I think, yes, it's responsibility, but I think it's also quite empowering, isn't it? Because I always say to my team, if you want to be good at this and you want to be successful at it, then it's on you to deliver for your clients, to build that rapport with the clients. I can't be there at every step, and I think then that sort of takes away a little bit of the responsibility from us. But I think for me as well, just to echo what Laura said about hitting the alchemy values, freedom, flexibility, financial stability, but I can work 9 till 2 if I need to, if I want to. That's amazing. And I can still pay the bills and the mortgage. Yes. Brilliant.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I loved your kind of shining a light on the responsibility being empowering, and I wholeheartedly agree. And I think there's so many fears and challenges that are just there when you're thinking about doing anything new. But to take that and take that as an empowering thing. I mean, I had this conversation with someone very recently, and they had the realization that actually employment wasn't for them because all of their eggs were in one basket, and they'd had a terrible situation where redundancies and job hunts, and actually for them they were empowering themselves to go, okay, well, how can I get these things for myself? And I think that's one of the things that, maybe challenge me if you think I'm wrong, but some of the things when I speak to people who want to take a franchise on with Alchemy, we've got the benefit of knowledge and experience and data, and we know our model works. We know it's repeatable, but how are you going to work with it is always kind of my take, because yeah, as you've said there, Sarah, so beautifully, it's like you need to take ownership for your own success, right? And both Sarah and Laura really kindly support me with speaking to some of the people that are interested in Alchemy as a brand as well. So you've got a lot of experience speaking to a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And Laura, from your perspective, what do you think are some of the challenges for someone taking on a franchise with Alchemy, or just broadly taking on a new business venture? What are some of the sticking points, do you think?
I would say the major one is confidence. And I know that was mine as well. It's just that, can I do it? Can I do it and still thrive and survive and pay the bills? And as Sarah put so lovely, definitely borrowed your confidence, because you were like, I know you can do it. I've got no doubt about that. And for me, the reward was much higher than the risk. So I definitely wanted, to give that a go. And thankfully, the reward has been fruitful. But yeah, I think just making that jump is a big step for people, and particularly people who've been in employment all of their life and, just had that reliable income, but then not had the other benefits, the flexibility and, everything that we've discussed already. So I think that for me would be the biggest one that I come across.
Yeah. I would agree as well. And I think actually sometimes it's not easy to say it's confidence. I'm not sure I can do this. Like, that's quite a really courageous thing to recognize and admit. And I love that you borrowed my belief and my confidence as well. Look, I mean, I've got a lot of it, but I don't always express it. Like, I knew from our conversations, I think I knew the first time I spoke to you, Laura, I was like, oh yeah, we're doing this. Like, we're doing this. Because I had seen and I had evidence of who you were and what was driving you, and how I could see the alignment between you and the brand and how this was going to work. But confidence. So Sarah, what else would you agree with that, confidence being a big thing?
I think confidence is definitely big. Self-belief, I think, it is a different thing. Mindset. I think overall mindset, because I really, if you believe you can, you're right. And if you believe you can't, you're right. Because mindset is 80% of everything. Like, you've got to have the right mindset. I've got to have the right mindset when I'm talking to my team, when I'm in a prospective call with a new client. Because if I'm in the wrong mindset, even when I'm dealing with my children, we all know, we've got a short fuse. You're not going to get the right outcome. You're not going to get the outcome that you're looking for. And clients can pick up on that. Prospective clients will pick up on that. If you're not enjoying the work that you're doing, they will know. So I think mindset, I think you've really, before you go and do any venture, be it start your own business, become a virtual assistant, you have got to have your mindset in the right place. And the way that I worked on that is through personal development for many, many years. And I still do. Because I find myself, you surround yourself with people and they will either be radiators or they will be drains. You've got to keep away from the drains, and you've got to be around people that lift you up. And you will come across, as you go around talking to people about starting your own business journey, you will come across people that will try and talk you down. And they probably haven't started their own business, and they will be scared for you because they are just portraying their own mindset and confidence issues. And I think for me, if you've got the right mindset, you're pretty much there. You don't need the experience. You can learn all of that. If you've got the right mindset, you've done it.
Yeah, I agree. Success in business is mindset and how you look at things and how you perceive, and it's one of those things that I don't think you ever arrive. Growth is another one of our core values, and I don't know, I mean, I feel really fortunate to know some incredible entrepreneurs and human beings, and I don't know any of them that ever stop learning. I think if you stop learning, you're done. Take a pause. But it's that mindset work, isn't it? And it's interesting what you say about like people will always be scared for you. And you hearing you say that, Sarah, took me right back to, I can't even think how long ago when I left employment. And I remember someone said to me in the office, "Oh, don't worry, you can always come and get a job here when it doesn't work out." And I'm using that. I love that you're both laughing. At the time, it crushed me because I was like, it's taken so much for me to make this decision. It's taken me so much to map out the finances, the practicalities, find the courage to say, do you know what? I can start this. I don't have to know the entire 5-year plan. I know I can start this and learn on the way. And all of that work just got eroded in one, I think it was meant to be supportive sentence, but I could have let that crumble. But I didn't. I took that and thought, you know what? You're trying to be supportive. That's great if that's an option, because I'm not going to need it. And here we are. And it's finding that balance between the belief and the mindset and the thoughts and the stories that you're telling yourself, and balancing that up with reality and practicalities and sensible strategies, because there's no point, if I ever speak to anyone who wants to become part of Alchemy and they're not scared, or they're not nervous, or they're not lacking that, that confidence, is they recognize I'm nervous because I'm like, you don't understand how this is going to be. So Laura, what's your take? Have you got any unsupportive stories you want to share?
Excuse me. No, I have to say, no, not unsupportive. No. I think my family and people close to me were probably not worried, but just, showed concern. But again, that goes back to me being on my own with my son. I'm the only one bringing in money. I need to be able to pay the bills. So, there was just, a loving concern about that. But no, everybody that I spoke to was very supportive. I obviously surround myself with the right people.
You do. You certainly do, Laura. And I suppose that loving concern is really, really valuable. And would you agree with what Sarah's saying about that mindset and how you're thinking about things, it being key?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely agree. It would be very difficult for somebody to achieve something without the right mindset, I think. You need to have, yes, you're going to have worries, concerns, fears, but you need to have that bit of belief as well, or you're not going to do it.
I think you need to feel the fear and do it anyway. And I think for me, the biggest fear was the risk of what if I don't take this chance? I will always regret it, and you should just never have regrets.
Yeah, I remember feeling that, like that I'd hit a point in my life that the fear of not doing it was greater than the fear of failing.
Yeah.
And actually, again, maybe this is just reflective of where I am right now, but that I see this in a lot of people, this kind of needing to have everything ready, or needing to have the timing right, or needing to have, or I'll wait for this, or I'll do that. And actually, I've become a lot more accepting of this more recently, because I'm a recovering control freak and somewhat of a perfectionist. But we'll skip over that. We'll skip over that because
Who told her?
I spent so much of my life waiting for perfect. I'll just get this like totally everything aligned, and I'll wait for the right time, and I'll wait for things to be easier. And then it's like, well, it's never easier, because there will always be something thrown at you. There will always be a challenge you didn't see, or a situation that we didn't predict. And it's just about owning the fact that you are responsible for what you are responsible for. And that pain of not giving it a go was far greater than the the anticipated pain of failure for me.
Yeah,
Is that where you were as well, Laura, when you were saying about like the reward, the risk versus reward thing?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I, without to go into too much detail, I was in a position that really wasn't sustainable. So I knew that I had to do something for myself, for my family, to make life better for me. And given past experiences that I've had, I'm very much, you've got to give it a go because you never know what's going to come around the corner kind of person now. And yeah, I could see that if I did this and I achieved it, then I would get the kind of life that I wanted and not the one that I had at that point.
Yeah. Laura, why alchemy?
You.
Don't say that.
It was.
You don't have to blow smoke at my ass here. What was it about alchemy or me that?
But it was you. Because as soon as I spoke to you, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is because you were just so. But you weren't blowing smoke up my arse. You were just like so normal and just so honest. But you filled me with belief that I could do it. And other ones I looked at just didn't give me that, and just we weren't aligned on the whole values and things like that. So yeah, you.
I'm gonna have to make sure we get this on a quote card. Laura Barley called me normal. It was just so normal. No, thank you, Laura, because that means a lot. And when I'm reflecting on my journey, recovering control freak, perfectionist, the need to have everything perfect, launching Alchemy as a franchise was the most terrifying thing, and still is the most terrifying thing I've ever done. Alchemy was my second baby. I poured, you guys know what you pour into what you do. Yeah. And then to be able to go, okay, I'm going to let someone else take that and build that and grow that and make it theirs. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. It was such a big mindset leap and practical leap. Like there was so much going on there with me personally. And I think if we weren't so focused on what you've just said there, that alignment, that connection, I think we probably could be a lot bigger than we are now.
Yeah.
But Sarah, why alchemy for you?
Well, as you mentioned at the start, I was your business advisor. And you were the first virtual assistant business I'd ever come across. And I'd met thousands of business owners of all different businesses and industries and sectors and challenges. And I think from our first meeting at the Innovation Centre in Northampton, and we were discussing, you'd come to me because you weren't sure how to proceed, how to scale this business. You'd built a successful virtual assistant business. Paul was looking to join the business. He wanted a bit of what you had, a bit of that freedom, flexibility. And you were just like, how can I support him, basically, to leave his job, wasn't it? And you were looking at different ways. And we decided on franchising as a model to scaling the business, which I had a bit of experience in. I'd supported a couple of other businesses to go down the franchise model. I knew a bit about franchises. We knew what we needed to get in place. And I think, bearing in mind I'd met thousands of business owners, no one had ever come back to me, with the steps in such a short period of time, having done what we'd said you were going to do, and you just kept doing that, and I was just impressed. And I think I'd always wanted my own business. I just never really had that idea of what I wanted to do. I didn't know what a virtual assistant was really. Like I said, you were the first one back in 2019, 2018 maybe it was, who had come along, and I really got to understand exactly what the business model was, and I just thought, that's it. That's what I should do. I'm a business advisor. I go and sit with people and we have a lovely coffee and we talk about their challenges. And invariably, I don't see them again because they don't take the steps. Business is busy, it gets in the way, and they don't make the time to work on their business. And this way, I can become a virtual assistant. I can run my own business and I can help people with what do they need to do, what are their challenges, and I can help them to put it in place. I can become part of their team. So for me, it was a kind of perfect hybrid of what I was currently doing and supporting them to do it.
And then COVID hit, but that's another story. That's another story for another day. Thank you, Sarah. And I suppose I've got kind of two last questions for you both, if I may, because I am trying really hard to keep us focused and not make this a 3-hour episode as it so easily could be. And I suppose my next question, and Laura will come to you first. What are the most significant things you get from Alchemy, from being supported by the brand, the people? Sarah, not me this time, please, because my head's big enough. But what actually, you said before there, you'd mentioned a couple of other options you were looking at before you started your business. But what is it that now you've made that choice and you're on this path, what are the most significant things that you get from Alchemy that you value?
I think what I like is the fact that we have a lot of input into what goes on. So it's not, you and Paul at the top of the tree dictating everything that's happening. We are asked a lot for our opinions and what we think, and what we believe should be done. So that is really valuable to me, and helps me to feel valued, as part of the Alchemy family. We get loads of support anytime we need it from you guys. We know that we've got that, and I think having that relationship with you and with the other hub managers really helps, so that you're running your own business, and we all do it in different ways, but we know that we can go to each other and get advice and support and offer tips and tricks and new things that we've found. And we have our weekly meetings, which at the moment I'm rubbish at attending, but it's nice to know that that's there, just for a dedicated check-in time every week, that it's there if you need it, and if you don't, it's fine. It's it's not a pressure thing. So yeah, all of these things, it's just, I guess it's all different forms of support, really.
Yeah, thank you. And just to be clear, I have always looked at this from the perspective of, I find the franchise dynamic really, really fascinating. But as far as I'm concerned, I work for you, not the other way around. Okay. Like that's my take. Like, it's my job to support you and to help you be successful. And yes, we've got the structure, we've got the business model, we've got the process, we've got all of that, but we're still human beings at the end of the day. And that's how I see it. Like, you're my clients, if you like it's my job.
Well, that very much comes across and all that you offer to us. So yeah.
Thank you. But Sarah, same question to you. What are the most meaningful things that you get from Alchemy right now?
Well, I would echo pretty much everything that Laura has just said, but I'd also like to, on top of that, it's you leave us being able to just run our business and look after our clients. I haven't got to think about the brand as such. Yes, I have input into it, but the brand, the logo's there, all the assets are there, all the marketing is taken care of. So to our clients outwardly facing, it looks like we've got everything in check and all our socials are going on and it looks fantastic and it looks really slick. You know, the website's taken care of, there's new content coming out on there all of the time, all of the platforms, the systems, the processes, and that isn't just, you know, a static thing, that's constantly evolving. Paul's always looking at ways that we can improve things. We're looking at new systems and processes that we can bring in place to help people. When you're looking to take on a team, everything you need is there. I haven't got to be worrying. You know, one of the things I see, I'm in a lot of the VA forums, one of the things I see a lot is, look, help, I need to take on my first team member. What do I need to think about with terms and conditions? Or I've just won my first client. Oh my goodness, do I need to do this? What's the process? We've got all of that. It's all laid out. It is a ready-made business in a box, you know, is the sort of the saying, is, you know, that's what a franchise is. And I think that bit brings huge benefits because it removes so much distraction and noise from me, allowing me to just really focus on the team, the clients. But yeah, that network, that sense of not being in business by ourselves. We've got a network, we've got people that we can pull upon, we've got the support of you guys in head office, we've got the other hub managers, and equally, you know, Laura and I love supporting the team that have come after us.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's really interesting, isn't it? Because if I may touch on, you know, a lot of people, cost is what puts them off a franchise, or that's what their perception of, or their what that is. And just hearing you list out all those things, it's like, if you're starting a business, you need to invest in it. It is going to cost you money. You are going to have to invest in all of those things. And I think this is one of the things that's often misunderstood or overlooked. And I say this in a very compassionate way, but, you know, a website, a brand, a logo, the SEO, like you're benefiting from almost a decade of SEO work. Whereas if you're starting a business and you're starting a website, you've got to start all that. You've got to figure it out. You've got to learn it. You've got to do it, or you've got to buy it. And actually, that's one of the kind of maybe often overlooked benefits of a franchise, that's all done for you. Yes, okay, you're investing into the franchise, but you can get on serving clients and finding clients, as opposed to spending 6 weeks deciding what your brand's going to be and then build it, you know. And I think that's something that, would you agree, Laura, that sometimes people don't join that up in their mind?
100%, yeah. When I decided this is what I was going to do, I was very much, do I do it on my own? Do I go with a franchise? And for me, the answer was simple, because I knew that to do all the stuff that Sarah and you have just mentioned would just take me ages and take me away from actually running my business, from earning money, from growing my business, you know, from giving other people opportunities to be flexibly employed. You know, it would all have taken away from that. So yeah, 100% agree.
Thank you. So as a closing sentiment for this episode, Sarah, I know I've asked you this question probably a few times over the years, but what advice would you give Sarah Damani 5 years ago when you were just about to start this journey?
I think my biggest concern at that point was, can I do what Suzy does? I'm not Suzy Sanders. Can I win clients? Like, how do I even know what I'm going to be able to do for them? I think it's just feel the fear and do it anyway. I think if you are a curious individual, if you can work things out, I think you'll be absolutely fine. Because I had no experience, PA background. It's not necessary. It's the mindset. And I think if you're willing to come on this kind of crazy journey, then you will find a way.
Feel the fear and do it anyway. Thank you, Sarah. And Laura, what would you tell your previous past self, knowing what you know now?
Just get on with it. Stop messing around and just do it.
Which bit has been messing around and not doing it, Laura? You've had a great business.
No, before I started,
Okay.
just just stop all the research and just thinking about it, and then thinking of reasons why not to do it. Stop all that. Just bloody well do it, because it's all going to turn out. Stop sweating the small stuff. Is what I always refer back to. And by that I mean just little things that you then blow out of proportion because you do have the fear. So yeah, just get on with it.
Just get on with it. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. And I suppose before we shut this episode down, have either of you got a question for me?
Oh,
What would your advice be, Suzy?
What would
Same question.
Same question.
For
I was going to
you.
say, thank you, Sarah, because I always ask the questions, so it's nice to be asked. If I could give some advice to before I started alchemy,
Yes.
you'll figure it out.
Yeah. You don't need to see the full staircase.
Yeah.
Just take that first step.
You'll figure it out. And I think actually being grateful for the challenges, because it is challenging, and I've had so many low points to contrast the high points. That's the way it goes, right? And I could have got lost in each one of those low points. When your worst case scenario is playing out, when you're faced with something that is genuinely quite terrifying, which has happened to me throughout this journey, I could have let that break me. But actually now it's like, well, that's just fertilizer. I'm putting that shit under my feet, and I'm using it to grow. And actually taking that approach of challenges, fears, the hard stuff is what will allow the growth. I think reminding myself of that now is helpful, but also that's definitely, you want to face the challenges, they help you grow. So thank you so much, Laura and Sarah. You are two of the busiest people I know, so I'm grateful that you've made time to have this conversation with me here today. And thank you to you for listening and or watching. And if you are listening, both Laura and Sarah have subconsciously leopard printed in their outfits today. So I just wanted to mention that. What a beautiful alignment. And this is
planned.
It was planned. And this is the Alchemy of Alignment. Thank you for giving us your focus today, and do let us know what landed with you, and I'll catch up with you soon.